Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
Live from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Fox Sports Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. Tonight is Game 2 of the three-game set. The Reds against the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, hello, and welcome to Philadelphia, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch and Jim Day, I'm George Grand. The Reds, tall order here. They haven't won a series since 2006. The order gets taller because they face the ace of the Phils on this day, Cole Hamels. But more importantly, Chris, they need Mike Leake to get back on the beam.
Well, you're right, George, and he's been off the track lately after having started the season very strong. It looked like he was going to have one of these years that we all thought that Mike Leake would finally have, and then all of a sudden he gets derailed. First 7 starts, 2-1 with a 2.3 earned run average. He's thinking about maybe the All-Star game. And then the last 3 starts, well, an earned run average of over 12. He's just been hit around. He hasn't gone more than 5 innings in any of those starts. And he's a guy that is much better than what those numbers indicate. Really, right now, according to his pitching coach, Jeff Pico, and from what I see, he's simply making mistakes in the middle of the strike zone, something you cannot do at the big league level and survive.
Well, the guy on the other side of the ball, Cole Hamels, hasn't made many mistakes against the Reds in his career. He got his first major league win against the Reds, and he hasn't stopped since then.
Well, he can't wait to see the Reds. I mean, look at the record he's got, an unblemished 10-0 record, a terrific earned run average. I mean, you may say that you would rather face Steve Carlton than Cole Hamels out there. I mean, the way the Hamels pitches against the Reds, it's kind of the way Tommy Glavine used to pitch against the Reds back in his day. Well, the left-hander's got all the pitches going. Brian Price has got a little bit of a weakened lineup tonight, of course, with Marlon Byrd out, so it's going to be a tough go here for the Reds, but stranger things can happen. You never really know what's going to happen until you get out there and play the game.
Chris says Marlon Byrd is not in the lineup. We'll tell you the complete story about the Birdman next when Jim Day joins us in Philadelphia.
Ohio. I'm Jim Day. The Reds' organizational resolve has already been tested again this year. Homer Bailey out, Devin Mesoraco out, and now Marlon Byrd. on the disabled list. Last night, hit by a pitch during the game against the Phillies. And as we first told you after the game, part of our Elk and Elk storylines, that Marlon Byrd indeed has a fracture in his wrist. So he was put on the disabled list. Ivan De Jesus Jr. called up. We talked to Brian Price about that next man up mentality for this team.
Sign of a strong organization is the depth in which you have within it, and nobody feels sorry for the Reds because we lose a regular player. I mean, and we don't feel sorry for anybody else. There's a lot of other teams that are challenged with similar issues. So, we'll fight through. Gives a chance for some other guys to step up and get more playing time and have a better chance and a bigger opportunity to contribute. And if we play to our ability, we're still a very good ball club.
And Georgia, Chris, the Reds have had their problems offensively this year, but one thing they had was pretty much a set 8 lineup, and they're really settling in with that. But now that's all messed up with Marlon Byrd out. No word on how long that injury is going to be.
Thanks, JD. And speaking of the lineup, let's check your starting lineup for Brian Price and the Cincinnati Reds, brought to you by Meyer. Brandon Phillips is back in the leadoff spot. Joey Votto bats second. Todd Frazier in the number 3 hole. Jay Bruce hits cleanup. Cozart. Negron will be in left. Christopher will start tonight's game in left field for Marlon Byrd. Barnhart behind the plate. Leake and Hamilton in the 9th spot. And here's Cole Hamels, Chris.
Cole Hamels now over 30 years old, but he's also a veteran pitcher that is signed through 2018, and somehow he's able to keep his concentration and focus despite the fact that every time you mention trade, Cole Hamels' name is mentioned along with it.
Phillips hits a rifle shot to left, but it's right at the left fielder, Cody Ashe. And there's one away. Brandon's hit the ball well. And Chris, you look at the track record of Cole Hamels. It started with his first major league appearance. He flew in, called up, came to Cincinnati for his first game. He pitched brilliantly, won his first ever major league game against the Reds, had his first complete game. And the numbers tell the story. From that point on in 2006 right till today, he's dominated the Reds.
Well, yeah, you're right about that, George. 10-0 overall, but he's also dominated a lot of other people along the way as well. Cy Young Award 2008, World Series MVP the same year, top 10 in the Cy Young Award 4 different times, and a career earned run average of right around 3.2. So when you add all those up, I mean, you're looking at a very elite level left-hander. Even though his win-loss record over the last few years has not been good, the Phillies haven't been that good either, and they're wondering if maybe it's time to unload this lefty somewhere.
And you can still see he's got plenty of giddy up, back-to-back fastballs at 94. At one point in time last year, he was throwing a cutter a lot, and he's more or less canned that one. That pitch you just saw there was a 2-seam fastball, something he hasn't used a lot over the years. Hit pretty good by Votto towards the right center field alley. Votto rounds first, goes to second, and Joey has only his 3rd hit in 15 at-bats against Cole Hamels, a runner in scoring position.
Well, 2 sharply hit balls out of the first 2 batters that Hamels faces. I mean, Brandon Phillips hit the ball on the button. Here, a 3-1 pitch, hitters count. Joey Votto waits and hits it right out of the catcher's mitt.
Well, the Reds, who started off strong last night, Phillips got a single. Votto doubled them in. They led 1-0. And then in the 3rd, the 2 combined again with a Phillips double and a Votto single for the Reds' 2nd run. They had a 4-1 lead, then a 4-2 lead before they were tied in the 8th, and they lost it in the 9th. So they're trying to get a lead early again here. Here's Todd Frazier, only 2 for 9 in his career against Hamels. Overall, 280, 16 homers, 31 knocked in. Those 16 home runs, good for 2nd in the league. Bryce Harper leads everybody with 18. Center field, high in the air. Back goes Herrera. Edge of the warning track, he's got it. Votto will tag and easily go to 3rd. So advancing the runners is the fly ball from Frazier. There's a runner at 3rd with 2 outs, and let's check that defense. Herrera's in center, Ashe's in left, and the strong arm Jeff Francoeur, seems like he's been around forever, still got a rifle arm from right, one of the best in the business. At one point, twice he's had 19 assists from right field. Franco, Galvis, Utley, and Howard across the infield, and Ruiz behind the plate catching Hamels.
It would be awfully nice for the Reds if they can punch a run in here, have Jay Bruce get a base hit, or somehow by hook or crook be able to get a run here in the 1st inning against Cole Hamels.
Bruce 6 for 23 and 2 home runs against Hamels in their matchups. Dan Bellino barks out the strike call. He's behind the plate. Tom Hallion, the crew chief, is at first. Bruce Dreckman at second, and Alfonso Marquez, your third base umpire.
A first pitch changeup to Jay Bruce. He would never be up there looking for that. And another one.
Foul past Billy Hatcher in the first base coach's box for the Reds.
Oh. Although they have that one listed as a cutter.
No balls, 2 strikes. Votto inches off the third base bag in foul territory. There's a fastball at 95, missing inside.
I'll tell you, every time I see Hamels, I mean, now that he seems like he's completely healthy, he's throwing harder and harder. And it seems like this time through the lineup, he's not really messing around a lot with off-speed stuff. He's trying to go fastball through the first time through the lineup. As I say that, he drops a big curveball on Bruce.
He calls his own game. At times, as much of a veteran that Carlos Ruiz is behind the plate, these two guys have been at odds calling pitches. It's gone back and forth over the last couple of years. In fact, once this year, Hamels just threw his hands up in the air in exasperation over inability. There's a liner to left, sinking, but there is Ashe, and he's got it. So the Reds hit the ball hard 3 times in the inning, but nothing to show for it. To the bottom of 1 we go. Mike Leake takes them out. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, feeling good? It's Skyline time. Here's Mike Leake ready to go to work as we go to the bottom of 1. Herrera will lead it off. Your starting lineup for Ryan Sandberg, the manager of this Phillies team. Francoeur bats second. Utley, who had 3 hits last night, third. Howard in the cleanup spot. Franco, Ashe, Galvis, Ruiz, and Hamels. And here's the Reds right-hander.
Yeah, Mike Leake, 27 years old, hoping to get back on track after having 3 lackluster games in which he did not get into the 6th inning. And really, if you look at Leake and you start breaking down those games and the reason why he's doing what he's doing, and you see how the earned run average has jumped up almost 2 runs a game over the last 3, is because he's not getting ahead in the count and staying ahead in the count. Pitching backwards is something that Mike Leake really can't do, which is pitch from hitters' counts.
And when he's gotten in trouble this past month, that ball's been up. When he locates down near the knees, he's been in control and command.
Well, pitchers are never going to throw to spots and hit their spots all night long. But it's very important that when you don't hit your spot, where you miss. And he's missed over the center of the plate, and that's why he's been getting hit so hard. And that's the numbers that I'm talking about there, the first 7 starts versus the last 3.
Bounce toward short. Charging is Cozart. Flips to first, and Herrera's retired. There's one away. Here's your 4 defensive alignment for the Reds. Christopher Negron will be in left, replacing Marlon Byrd. Billy Hamilton, yet to commit an error, and has been playing Gold Glove center field all year. Jay Bruce in right. Frazier committed 2 errors uncharacteristically last night, now 7 on the year. Cozart, Phillips, Votto across the infield, and Tucker Barnhart behind the plate catching Leake. Another bouncer to short. Whoa, high hop, but Cozart handles it. That just hit off the corner of the grass and the turf, and fortunately early enough so that Cozart could react to it, and there's 2 away.
Well, that's a good sign early on if Mike Leake begins to get ground balls. I mean, he is a ground ball pitcher. He would much rather pitch the contact down the zone and use the defense behind him, especially when you're playing in a small ballpark like here at Citizens Bank.
Here's Utley, who made the ballpark look small last night, had a homer and 3 hits. His best ball game of the year. Took his average from 190 to 207. A homer was his 4th of the year, now 22 knocked in. He had 2 hits against the shift. They do not overshift against him here. They overshifted the first 2 times he came up last night. First time he dropped a bunt down the third base line. Second time he hit a ground ball down the third base line. And the third time he just put the hammer on one. That's a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. A little bit different story for Utley, who's last year got his average back up to 270 after a injury marred year before. He started off very slow this year, but the last 2 weeks has been hot. On deck, the big towering first baseman Ryan Howard.
Really, so far so good for Mike Leake as far as all the different assortment of pitches that he throws and seems to have pretty good control of. His pitching coach Jeff Pico told me he had a very good bullpen in between his last outing and today. That doesn't sound like much to the average viewer, but I mean, as a former pitcher, I can tell you it's a lot better to have a good bullpen than a bad one.
That's right. And it's better to have a good first inning than a bad one. That's a clean first inning. 3 up, 3 down. When we return, Cozart to the bat rack. Double from Votto in the first, hit the ball hard. 3 of the 4 batters that came to the plate, nothing to show for it. Here's Cozart. First pitch swinging. High fly ball center field. Herrera, the speedy center fielder, hauls it in, and there's one away. Chris, you talked about how good Cole Hamels has been over the years, and when you look at it statistically in the numbers, wow.
Well, you recognize all the other names on that list. So when you're on a list where you recognize all the other pitchers and you're up there with Adam Wainwright and Felix Hernandez, you're doing pretty well. So that's the lowest earned run average, minimum of 1,500 innings, and Cole Hamels number 3 in all of Major League Baseball.
You were just off that list, as I recall.
Yeah.
Here's Christopher Negron.
You know, and what even makes it even more remarkable is the fact that this is a bandbox of a ballpark. I mean, it's very much like Cincinnati, or even plays smaller as it heats up here on the East Coast in the summertime.
Now the question, Chris, is Marlon Byrd on the sidelines, and as the guys told you on the pregame show, Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesenslaw, and Jim Day reiterated on the start of our broadcast, Marlon Byrd out with the fractured wrist. Don't know exactly how long. There's some feeling that it might have been a previous injury that's been aggravated, so we don't really know how long he will be out. But the story of left field will be an interesting one. Ivan De Jesus Jr. called up from AAA. Negron will get a shot, Schumacher will get a shot, and it'll be an opportunity for somebody to step up, huh?
Well, it will. And really what you're looking at are the guys that you mentioned, including Schumacher, all utility type players who can play infield and outfield. Then you have Brennan Bosch, who's the only real outfielder of the group, and you don't know how much playing time he's going to get. I mean, when you lose your starting left fielder, I mean, it's hard to replace him from somebody in the minor leagues. I mean, it's just a fact, unless you have somebody who happens to be right at the very end of the food chain and ready to go. So that's not the case right now with the Reds, and, you know, who knows? Maybe there'll be a move made from outside the organization to bring someone in.
Now what you lose is 10 home runs and 25 runs batted in. There's a bouncer into center field. Barnhart gets a base hit. That's his first hit ever against Hamels after 4 at bats.
I can tell you one thing, that the Reds right now, their game plan against Hamels is to don't go out there and let him get ahead of you by taking a couple of pitches and working the count, because this guy is a strike thrower. He's going to come right after you, mainly with hard stuff early in the game. He's done exactly that, and the Reds have come out swinging the bats and squaring him up a little bit.
Here's Mike Leake, the pitcher, once again hitting in the 8th spot for Brian Price. Billy Hamilton hitting 9th. And as Reds fans know, this is no ordinary pitcher at the plate. Leake, pretty good swinger of the bat, and at 143, a homer, and a couple knocked in. Leake takes a peek down at third. Jim Riggleman flashes some signs from the third base coach's box. Barnhart short lead off first. Hamels the move from the third base side of the rubber, ready to go to the stretch.
Hey, one thing you've got to notice about Cole Hamels is that he is ready to deliver the baseball. I mean, he gets it back from Carlos Ruiz, and he is towing the rubber, ready to go.
2 pitchers out of the same mold. Leake rapidly working as well. Change up out in front is Mike. 1-2.
Hamels has had a chance to be a teammate, you know, with one of the best pitchers around in Cliff Lee. And Lee is injured right now. He's on the 60-day disabled list with some elbow problems, but he's learned a lot from Lee over the years.
Swing and a miss in the dirt, and that'll do it. Reds get a second hit from Barnhart. Nothing to show for it. Ryan Howard up when we return.
The energy. We've chronicled how the Reds have had a tough time winning here in Philadelphia. Haven't won a series since 2006. And there have been some painful losses as well. 8 of the last 14 wins the Phillies have at home versus the Reds have come in their final at-bat. Talked a little bit about it last night, and then it happened again. This has been a house of heartache, George.
Memories that Ryne Sandberg is just experiencing, but the Reds fans have experienced since 2006. In fact, since that 2006 year, the Reds are 8-27 here. Brian Price saying before the series, you know, those are numbers that the guys in this clubhouse don't really remember all that much about it. Well, even if you change people, you know what the record book says. Here's Ryan. Howard has had a hand in a lot of that. Howard, for his career, has hit .260 against the Reds and has 19 career home runs against Cincinnati. He leads this club with 10 homers and 25 knocked in. Against Leak, he has been outstanding. 6 for 15, 402 home runs. A guy who was at the peak of his game in the mid-2000s. He was the Rookie of the Year, then the MVP the next year, and for 4 straight years was in the top 5 in MVP balloting. Then the injuries started to mount up. The knee, an ankle, a quad, and of course the final at-bat injury to end the season of a pulled Achilles tendon.
Well, all those injuries, George, now complicated by the fact that he's also getting older. He's now 35 years old, so you're going to have a drop-off with age anyway. So when you start having injuries that compound things, it makes it even worse. Bat speed not what it once was. I mean, here was a guy that at one time he played nearly every ball game there was in the mid 2000s, as you said, like 2008. You know, had 48 home runs one year, had 58 home runs in 2006. Would drive in 140 or more 3 different times. I mean, this guy was a force to be reckoned with when you saw him coming out of the dugout. Not so much anymore.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Those 344 home runs, second only to Mike Schmidt in Philadelphia Philly history. Schmidt, of course, the Hall of Famer. And you look at all the rankings, he's in the top 7 or 8 in every offensive category in Philly history.
Well, he's always struck out a lot, but when you hit a lot of home runs and you drive a lot of runners in, people tend to overlook the strikeouts. But when your power numbers go down and your batting average starts to slump, then those strikeouts begin to really be something that people like to talk about.
Dribbled down to first. It is a foul ball. The Reds will overshift against him, and you know, we've talked a lot. Reds fans have seen defenses overshift on Jay Bruce and gobble up potential hits in the last couple of years. No one in the National League has lost more base hits to the shift than Ryan Howard. In fact, the Phillies added up this year that he has lost 15 base hits due to the shift, and the Reds have overshifted against him here. 2-2. Try it again. High in the air to center field. Under it is Hamilton. Bailey's got it, 1 away. And the other part of all of this is the Phillies, the Reds started 2015 with the idea of contending for a playoff spot. The Phillies made it clear that they were in a rebuilding mode, but have been unable to deal Ryan Howard, unable to deal Cole Hamels, unable to deal Jonathan Papelbon to get a deal that was palatable to them. And you wonder if that may come in the next 2 months as we head towards the July 31st trading deadline. For the first time in a long time, we've heard rumblings around baseball that the Phillies may be willing to pay some of Cole Hamels' salary, may be willing to pay some of Ryan Howard's salary. And now with the Cardinals, and they don't miss a beat, by the way, they won again today, beating Milwaukee 7-4. With Adams on the disabled list, if he's on for any length of time, might Ryan Howard be ticketed to go back to his hometown, St. Louis. Here's Franco, 212, 3 homers, 10 knocked in. Franco was the culprit in the 8th inning after Jay Bruce lost the ball in the lights, which resulted in a double for Ryan Howard. Franco bombed a homer to left to tie the game at 4, and then the Phillies won it in the 9th inning. And Jay said it was like deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra would say. He lost the ball in the lights during the 2010 playoffs. Almost a similar situation. That breaking ball clips the outside corner. That's a strikeout. Strikeout number 1 for Elite. 2 away.
Well, Mike Leake is much more accurate tonight with his breaking stuff. There's a pitch that's right off the outside corner, maybe getting a little bit extra on the block on that pitch. But, you know, Tucker Barnhart is so still behind the plate. He gets so small. He gives those umpires such a good look at the strike zone that oftentimes you're going to get a marginal pitch if your catcher catches it softly like that and gives the umpire a good look. And I think Barnhart does that about as well as anybody around.
Solid behind the plate and really earning his spurs the last 2 years with the opportunity to play, unfortunately, because Devin Mesoraco has been injured. Here comes the changeup to Ashe. Down a little low. Cody at 256, couple of homers, 2 knocked in. Ashe had a double as part of a rally in the 2nd inning last night for the Phils. To Hopper, down to Brandon. He'll gobble it up. That'll do it. 1, 2, 3, 6 up, 6 down for Mike Leake. Billy Hamilton leads it off in the 9th spot when we return. Well, Hamels ready to go to work facing Billy Hamilton. In tied at 3rd and 1st are the Phillies. The 3rd baseman Franco 2 steps in front of the bag, and even with the bag at 1st is Ryan Howard. With a left-hander going, and where Chase Utley is, if Billy Hamilton can push it to the right side of the mound, there's no way that Utley would have been able to get there, or Hamels, who would fall off towards 3rd base, would be able to get there. Tried to bunt. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's down and in. Big difference with a left-hander going and where Billy Hamilton would try to bunt, Chris.
Well, I mean, the obvious thing to do if you're a right-handed batter in the box against a lefty, you just push it by the pitcher. Second baseman will never throw you out. Ryan Howard is not all that mobile at first base. He's not the nimblest of first baseman. So you've got a lot of room over there. But you've got to be committed to it. And you have to do it by laying the bunt down first and then running, something Billy Hamilton did a couple of times last night.
2 outstanding bunts, both sacrifices, 1 a squeeze play. No bunt here with 2 strikes. That's up a little high.
I mean, the other thing to consider is that, you know, you're facing Cole Hamels, one of the best left-handers around. We showed you how he stacks up with some of the best pitchers in all of baseball over the last 1,500 innings. So, I mean, you've got your adrenaline going. I mean, maybe you don't feel like taking a bunt. Maybe you just feel like taking a walk.
And he's on base for only the second time in his career against Hamels. He was 0 for 7 coming into today with 1 walk, and here's the opportunity for him. He's on at first with no one out. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD and over 400 mobile and connected devices. Every night, every device. Blackout, other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Well, teams really like to push the running game against Hamels, maybe because they don't get that many base runners and often opportunities.
Good point.
Otherwise.
A line shot into center. Billy had to hold. He'll still turn, and he will hold at second. He would normally have been on third base, but Utley came within 6 or 8 inches of gloving that, so Billy had to slam on the brakes, and he'll have to hold at second.
Well, another first pitch fastball and another rocket shot by Brandon Phillips. I mean, that ball sounds great coming off the bat. And what I'm seeing out of Cole Hamels so far is that he's thrown a lot of first pitch fastballs, and he doesn't have really good control of that curveball. And Votto, who had a double his last time up, was coming to the plate. Of course, with Hamels, just because you get a couple of runners on with nobody out, there's no guarantee you're going to score anything. He stranded a runner at third in the first inning.
Here's Joey. Double to right center field his first time up. 2 on, nobody out. There go the runners, and they've got him picked. Back to second. He's going to be safe, and they won't get a throw back to first. Boy, did the Reds luck out on that one. Part of it was the slowness of the defensive developing play by the Phillies, and part of it was Hamilton's speed to get back to second.
I'll tell you what, I'm sure that Larry Bowe is pulling his hair out inside that dugout right now, because if you can't execute a simple rundown at the major league level, you got problems. I mean, Hamels essentially did the right thing. He dished it off, and it just took the third baseman, Maikel Franco, just too long to get rid of it.
That guy walking up and down the dugout didn't make many mistakes defensively.
They're going to take a bite out of somebody.
Well, Hamels steps off. He wheels around behind. He's very cognizant of Billy at second base. Votto still at the plate. And the other side of this is, I'm sure that Brian Price is happy that they're spending so much time worrying about Hamilton out at second with Votto at the plate.
As long as it does not bother Votto and his concentration.
Just does get back. Good move by Billy.
Another shot hit off the bat of a Reds player. I mean, they are squaring him up tonight.
Unlucky at the direction, but boy, hit it right on the button. Hamilton back in time, so now 1 away, still 2 on, and here comes Frazier. Fly ball to center first time up. Todd overall 278 with those 16 homers. Not very often you'll see Hamels spend that much time worrying about any base runner.
Well, every year he has a whole handful of pitcher caught stealing and pitcher pickoffs. He's always among the leaders in both of those categories. I mean, for instance, last year he gave up 19 stolen bases. 9 were caught stealing, but 11 more were either pitcher caught stealing or pitcher picked off. So bottom line is that he actually gets more runners out on the base paths than he does give up stolen bases.
And you wrote the book on keeping runners close by just throwing over. Miss it inside, 1-1.
You don't do that quite as much, obviously, with the runner at second base. He hasn't thrown back there yet.
And the best base stealers will always tell you, with a left-hander on the mound, that's the easiest base to steal, second to third.
Especially off that lefty that has a big leg kick like he does. And that's the move that'll get you. That's what got him the first time. Well, Billy got a little bit anxious.
And what they're doing, they're buying probably 4 or 5 feet of that secondary lead by bluffing back there and keeping Utley close to the bag.
Those are the concessionaires you hear cheering in the background.
Give me a cheesesteak. Well, is that Jim Day saying that?
I think Jim Day's eating them all.
I don't think there's any left tonight. New Citizens Bank Park record. There goes Billy. Gets a late break to throw. They got a shot at him, but he's going to get there anyways. And following him is Phillips. So the Reds have second and third. So they haven't won the war yet by scoring a run, but finally Hamilton and Phillips win a battle by going to second and third.
I'm always amazed why the catcher doesn't just automatically throw to second base on this, especially when you've got a guy as quick as Billy Hamilton. Brandon Phillips has to wait to see if Hamilton actually does break and go to second base or third base, and he's always going to be a step behind that way. So this way it works out great for the Reds. They get a couple of runners in scoring position. Base hit by Frazier puts him up by probably 2.
Frazier trying to find a way to get a ball into the outfield. Last night 0 for 5 and 2 errors. And this the first game after being player of the week last week. He said, boy, this is a roller coaster game, isn't it? It humbles you. 1 and 2. Hanging in there, spoiling another one.
Yeah, a few more off-speed pitches this time now to Frazier. He hit a rocket shot, long fly ball to center field. His first time up on a fastball. It looks like Hamels is a little bit stingy with trying to give him one of those in the strike zone.
Down and in, down and in. Fastball up high, 2 and 2. In addition to that Cardinal win, 7-4 over Milwaukee today. Arizona beat Atlanta 9-8, and Pittsburgh wins again 5-2 over San Francisco. Those are the finals in the National League from earlier today.
He's got him set up for a changeup and see if he goes there.
Good block by Ruiz, with Hamilton dancing down the line about 25 feet. You see that left-handed mitt that Billy wears. That's the hand that he usually reaches out to grab the bag with to try to prevent jammed fingers or thumb. And Billy admits he's trying the best he can when he steals second, especially to slide feet first rather than hands first. Full count, 3-2. That's a call, strike 3. He froze him.
Boy, Frazier still thinks that ball may have been low. The bottom of the knees looked awfully low on that pitch. To see what our box track says on pitch number 8. He calls it right down there on the corner. Man. Looks high enough from the side. You know, a lot of times when a catcher catches those balls, and we see it from center field camera, and if he pushes that glove down at all, it looks like it's down around the dirt. When actually that was a pretty good call. And a nice pitch by Hamels.
So it'll be up to Jay, now still second and third, but 2 outs. Bruce lined to left first time up. Of all the Reds, Bruce is the only one that's homered in this lineup off Hamels. He has 2 homers and 6 hits and 23 at bats against him. One ball, 1 strike.
Well, the ball that Bruce hit hard to left field was a pitch out over the plate. And you can see in this at bat that Hamels is trying to crowd him inside, because Bruce has been squaring it up, especially against lefties.
And you can see those 2 home runs against lefties, 2 of Jay's 7, and you know the story. He's hit more home runs off left-handed pitching than anyone else in the National League over the last 5 years. Hamilton walk, Phillips single. They both stole a base. That misses. And it's 3-1.
I don't see Hamels coming in and giving in here to Jay Bruce. I mean, he's had too much success against him. He's seen him too many times. He's already hit the ball very hard against him here. I mean, Bruce ought to be looking out over the plate with a fastball right here just in case, but I don't think he's going to get a real easy pitch to hit.
And there's ball 4. So the Reds will have the bases loaded. They stranded 1 in the first, 1 in the second. They've got 3 out here in the third against a guy who is one of the stingiest pitchers with runners in scoring position this year. The league is hitting only 164 against him.
And the thing that Hamels has going for him now with Kozar to righty up is that he'll use his changeup more. And that may be his out pitch to get Kozar maybe to roll over on one.
Zach fly ball to center first time up. Negron on deck, bases loaded for the Reds, 2 outs in the third. Popped him up. Foul territory, Howard there, got it, and that'll do it. The Reds have stranded 5 through 3. We're still scoreless. With Fireworks Fridays at Great American Ballpark. Friday cheer on the Reds when they take on the Padres. Plus stick around after the game for a spectacular Fireworks Friday show. Best fireworks in baseball right at Great American Ballpark. Presented by Kroger and Reds Home Team Products. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Mike Leake going to work. 6 up, 6 down so far. Freddie Galvis to lead it off. Ruiz and Hamels to follow here in the third. That's a strike, 1-1. Phillips has it. Galvis retired, 1 away. American League Finals this afternoon. Boston beat Minnesota the final 6-3. And the Yankees beat Seattle in Seattle the final 3-1. Underway tonight. Toronto leads Washington 4-0 in the third. Miami leads the Cubs 4-0. They're in the third as well. Mets are playing the Padres later on, and the Padres then, of course, will head to Cincinnati for the weekend series. Reds have only a 3-game road trip. There's 3 games here in Philadelphia. Reds have a jam-packed month. 29 of 30 dates they'll be playing baseball. Philly Fanatic entertaining the crowd here at Citizens Bank. That misses inside. 1-1. Ruiz at 246, no homers, 8 knocked in. Center field, Billy right there, got it. Hardest hit ball so far for the Phillies. 2 away, and here comes Hamels. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Hamels at 182, no homers, no one knocked in. Slaps that one foul for strike 1. California native from Rancho Bernardo High School.
Yeah, kind of interesting, really, that you've got a lot of similarities between these two players. Both of them from the San Diego area, both former first-round draft picks. Hamels in 2002, he came out of high school. And, of course, Mike Leake out of college.
2 strikeouts for Leake. 9 up, 9 down so far. We're scoreless. Here comes Christopher Negron.
Sports Ohio family. Born this morning, you've heard the name Matt Sigafus, who's dialing up the highlights normally. This is a picture of Harper Lily Sigafus and Matt's wife, Christy. Born this morning was Harper Lily at 8:40 a.m., 6 pounds, 3 ounces, 17 3/4 inches long. Now, she came a few weeks early, so Matt was trying to rush home, but unfortunately was on the plane when Harper Lily was born. So, as usual, Mom did all the hard work, and Matt there just to reap the benefits. But congratulations to the Sigafus family. What a beautiful daughter. What a nice name. Harper Lily Sigafus. Congratulations, Matt.
Amen, JD. We send our congratulations, best wishes. Nice way to do it. Great family. You get a chance. We talk so often about Matt and the great job he does down in the truck with the highlights that you see night after night after night. And it's so much of a stamp of our broadcast. And he's got a family to be proud of. He and Christy have just a smile to celebrate with the brand new baby, Harper Lily, Chris.
George, does that mean that this baby Harper Lily will be brought up watching Reds archive tapes forever and ever and highlights of players from decades ago just to make sure that Dad's got it going right? Because there's nobody better in the business than Matt Sigafus.
Now, we were fortunate to announce Harper Lily's brother Jack, and now they got a boy and a girl. What else could you ask for? Great family and many wonderful years ahead for both of them. Christopher Negron strikes out for the second time, and that is 4 strikeouts now for Cole Hamels. One away, here's Barnhart.
And that 4 strikeouts is about right on schedule for Hamels. He averages about 9 per game this year, or 9 per 9 innings. You're going to look at it like that. And usually for games for him are almost 9 innings. He's a guy that really takes you deep into a ball game.
There's Barnhart, single to center. Reds have had their chances. In the first, with 1 out, Joey Votto doubled, was left stranded. In the second, with 2 outs, Barnhart singled, he was left stranded. In the third, a base hit for Phillips, a walk to Bruce, a walk to Hamilton, bases loaded. The Reds have stranded 5 through the first 3. When you look at where the Phillies are right now and you look at what they have available, you'd probably say that this guy remains the #1 object for someone to trade for if you're looking for a guy that can solidify a rotation in a pennant race.
Well, though, but if you do that, you're signing a guy or you're taking on a guy who is signed through 2018, and I'm talking about some heavy-duty money that whoever receiving ball club is going to end up paying. Now, will the Phillies pay some of that? Yes. How much? Don't have any idea about that. So, you compare him to, say, another pitcher who is only signed through this year, like a Johnny Cueto, if the Reds were so willing to trade him. Or if you're looking in the Phillies dugout, you're looking at Aaron Harang. Certainly not the caliber of Hamels or Cueto, but, I mean, there's something for everybody out there if you beat the bushes hard enough.
Full count, 3-2. He's owed $88 million, and it's only been recently that the rumblings have been that the Phillies might be willing to pay some of that. And what has short-circuited the Phillies from making a deal in the last year and a half, really, is that they've asked for premier, minor league, major league ready talent. Not 1, but 2 or 3. Full count, 3-2 again. There's ball 4. So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Mike Leake. Don't forget to be a part of the Major League Baseball All-Star action in Cincinnati coming up Sunday, July the 12th. Tickets available on allstargame.com. The week of All-Star activity will blanket the greater Cincinnati area. We hope you have a chance to savor what is a special week for baseball and for the city. We come to Philadelphia, Chris. I mean, I remember one time you and I went to touch the Liberty Bell years and years ago when you could just go in and touch it. Now it's all cordoned off.
Well, you had to put a crack in it. They put a big fence around it now.
Jesse Jackson brought his hammer, I think, to that trip. Showing bunt is Leake, takes a strike. But there's so many great attractions in downtown Cincinnati, just as there are here in Philly. The Underground Freedom Museum, the zoo. There's so much around the Cincinnati area. We hope you can participate, not just at the ballpark for the All-Star game, but for everything that everyone around the Cincinnati area has been a part of to make this a very special month of July in Cincinnati. In fact, I walked down in the old Liberty Bell area this morning, went to the Jewish History Museum where they had a special presentation about Jewish baseball players from years past. Guys like Sandy Koufax and Hank Greenberg. Great museums here. There goes the runner. There goes a base hit into left. Barnhart turns second and will hold there. So they turn the bunt around. Swing away is Leake, and there's a base hit. It's first and second with 1 out, and here comes Hamilton.
Well, one thing the Reds are doing tonight very well are making Cole Hamels work under pressure nearly every inning. Shortstop vacates his spot. He's over towards second base. There's a big hole in the left side of the infield. There's Galvis. All he can do is wave at that ball as it bounces in the left.
Let's see if Hamilton can keep the line moving. He walked and stole a base last inning. From the stretch, Hamels right down the middle for a strike. Stolen base for Billy was his 23rd of the year.
Well, the base on balls that Billy Hamilton had there in the 3rd inning was the first walk that he had been able to take since May the 11th, when the Reds opened up the series at home against the Atlanta Braves. So it's been a long drought for Billy to be able to take 4 balls before he put the ball in play or had 3 strikes.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The positive since being dropped down in the lineup from the leadoff spot, he's hit over 300. At one point his average was right at 200. It's now up to 225. He's hit 310, hitting in the 9th spot. Off the end of the bat. Can Howard get there? He will. Will they get it there in time? No. The bases are going to be loaded. The wonders of speed. They took what should have been a routine play and turned it into a bases loaded situation for the Reds.
At the very end of this play, a little frustration on the part of Cole Hamels. I think he was looking for that ball to be led to him, and Howard just really did not lead him at all, just a bad feed. I'm wondering if Howard's best play may have been to second base. Well, regardless, it seems like things are beginning to even out a little bit. The Reds have hit a lot of line drives against Cole Hamels that have found, leather. So now you get a couple of little bouncy hits, like the one by Hamilton, the bounce hit through the hole by Mike Leake. Things beginning to even out, and now you turn the lineup over with 1 out. And a guy that's hit the ball as hard as anybody all night long, and Brandon Phillips.
Hamels will be charged with an error. No base hit for Hamilton. So an error and the bases are loaded, and here comes Brandon.
What?
Yep. Brandon line to left first time up, single to center second time up. That's hit hard past the diving third baseman Franco. 1 run scores. Here comes Leake around third. He'll score, and the Reds lead it 2-0. The best swings of the night have come from Brandon Phillips, and number 4 delivered with that bullet past the third baseman, and the Reds lead it 2-0.
Well, Brandon, I think, has seen 3 pitches, and he's hit 3 line drives. This one a cutter. First 2 were fastballs. But I mean, he is all over, and that is well within the reach of the third baseman. Just hit so hard that Franco couldn't react in time.
Now the Reds still have first and second, and here comes Votto. Still only 1 out in the inning. And the Reds trying to play add-on here in the 4th.
Votto has scalded the ball a couple of times.
Hamilton reached on the air. He's at second. Phillips is at first. The last time these two were on, it was a double steal. See if they'll do it again. In the air to left, but right there is Ashe going halfway as Hamilton, and he'll retreat.
I still don't know how that could be an error on Cole Hamels and not a base hit for Billy Hamilton.
The only thing
I'm stupefied.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that if you look at the replay, his foot was on the bag when he reached out for the ball, and the foot was on the bag before Hamilton got there.
The feed was behind him, and he had to go after it with his bare hand.
Exactly. I'm just saying, I think that's the only way you can justify it as an official score.
There is no justification.
That's a base hit. Here's Todd trying to get the runner home from second. 2 on, 2 out. Fastball away. Frazier flied to center and struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch. That's a strike. right back to Hamels. He'll flip to Howard. That'll do it. The Reds will strand at 2. They've stranded 7. The good news is they played 2 in the 4th thanks to Phillips' base hit and lead it 2-0. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, being brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meyer. Find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country in United States News and World Report's best children's hospital. Look at JD. He's got a big smile on his face whenever we put those cheesesteaks on the line. JD, is anybody standing next to you down there? They still smell the onions?
George? No. I'm all good.
You're all good when it comes to cheesesteaks, aren't you?
Well, I had one of the best I've ever had today.
Have you ever met a cheesesteak you didn't like?
Yes, in fact, I have.
All right, give us the secret of a good cheesesteak here in Philly.
Well, I think it starts with the bread here. You've got to have some fresh bread, which the one I had today was one of the freshest buns I've ever had, and solid cheese after that. You know, the meat's pretty much standard, but cheese and bread.
That's a good combo, isn't it? Herrera waves at that for strike 3. And there's one away here in the 4th. And I know, JD, you always go the extra mile for us here at Fox Sports Ohio and for your fans, your minions. And I know tomorrow you're going to bring us up to date on exactly how much time you've spent to find the best cheesesteak. Look at that. Look at that.
Now, rarely do I go into the clubhouse dining facility for the players, but the cheesesteaks are so legendary that come out of there. Tomorrow we will bring you that story, and they even have a tally of who eats the most cheesesteaks, Major League players, and which teams eat the most cheesesteaks. They are very, very popular.
Well, let me ask you a question. Casey's retired. Is he on that list? Sean, I think Chris would be on that list. Don't you think so?
He's the first guy I thought of when they told me that there was a list. I'm like, Casey's got to be on there somewhere. But they've been doing the tally since 2011, so this one a little bit after his time.
All right, JD, we wait with bated cheesesteak breath for that. Here's Jeff Francoeur, bounced to short first time up. Did he swing at it? Yes, he did, and that'll be it for Francoeur. Francoeur, you look at his career. He's had some good power numbers. He's been outstanding defensively, but that happens about 1 every 4.5 at bats for him, a strikeout.
But he's always had a big swing, and he cheats a little bit to get to the fastball. That way he chased a lot of breaking balls in the dirt.
Well, Mike Leake gets 2 quick strikeouts, numbers 3 and 4 for him. And here's Utley, bounced to short first time up. Missing wide of the outside corner for ball 1. Zippo for a strike. He's always had one of the most compact swings in baseball since breaking onto the scene. And with the exception of the knee difficulties and injuries that he's had, he's always been a star performer for this Philly franchise. There's a rocket shot down the line, curving, it'll go foul.
Still has a quick bat. Yeah, he does have a quick bat. He always has had a quick bat. And I think a lot of that, George, when you begin to lose it, because every hitter's swing begins in the feet and the legs. And if you don't have good stable legs, look what happened with Joey Votto. I mean, he had the bad knee, couldn't drive the ball. Different hitter now that he's healthy. Well, you know, the better that Utley feels, the better that swing will be. I'll tell you what, Mike Leake is making some really good pitches tonight.
And that was a real good catch by Ryan Howard in the on-deck circle. Barehanded as the foul ball zipped past his shoulder and just flipped it to a fan. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's a down and in pitch. If he makes it, Chris, the only place you can hit it is foul. If you miss it, trouble. 2-2. Tries to work the outside corner. He'll go full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Utley. If you looked at Leake and looked at the whole infield defense, everyone was 3 steps towards the dugout thinking it was strike 3. Take a look. Judge for yourself. So a walk, and that's the first base runner for the Phillies tonight. A 2-out free pass, and here comes Howard, who fly to center first time up. At one point, Chase Utley was always a stolen base threat. In fact, he still remains percentage-wise one of the best stolen base operatives in the last 13 years in the National League. The knee injuries have cut back on the number of stolen bases, but he's still a very smart base runner and a smart base stealer. No balls, 1 strike. Sound like a broken bat down the right field line, and it was. Howard will go for another piece of lumber.
I mean, what a great location again. That is not an easy pitch for a right-handed pitcher to throw, which is inside to a left-hander, just to the point where it's good enough that he'll swing at it. But if he hits it, he's going to hit it foul and likely break his bat. I mean, that's exactly where Tucker Barnhart had the glove. And Leake is really on the button tonight. He gets a little nod from Barnhart on that.
No balls, 2 strikes. Just like Utley, he went back to the outside corner, but just misses again. 1-2. Pete McCannon rolls through some signs from the third base coach's box. Juan Samuel in the first base box for the Phillies. There's Sammy. Boy, he's been around a long time, hasn't he? What a solid major leaguer he was.
He's from my era, George.
Yep.
That would mean
he's still
I've
coaching.
been around a long time.
Have you ever seen him without a smile on his face? Amazing, isn't he?
You're right.
What a great part of the game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him. 5 strikeouts for Lee. He strands the base runner. Reds still lead it 2-0. Jay Bruce will lead it off. World Cup begins as China takes on host country Canada. Then Monday, don't miss Team USA's first game as they battle Australia on Fox Sports 1. Don't miss games all weekend long on Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and also streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Sweden and Nigeria also in that Group D. That's the group that the United States is in as they try to win another World Cup. Here's Jay, lined to left and walked. In the third, he walked with 2 outs to load the bases, but the Reds left all 3 stranded. The 2 runs the Reds have came in the 4th thanks to a base hit by Brandon Phillips that knocked in 2. Jay last night in the game against the Phillies had 2 more hits and a walk. The hits have been coming more frequently of late. His average climbing, one time around 200, now up to 230. Full count 3-2. Neither pitcher waiting at the bus stop tonight, huh? Got him. Strikeout for Hamels. 1 away here in the 5th.
That's a preferable spot when you're facing Jay Bruce and have a fastball that runs into the mid-90s, is to kind of go up the ladder a little bit. Even Bruce right now, who's seeing the ball big, is almost on that, just a hair late. That ball is down in the zone. There's a good chance that Bruce puts the barrel on it.
One strike to Cozart. Zach flied to center and popped out to the third baseman. Bottom dropped out of that one, and it's 0-2.
That's the curveball that Hamels has been looking for the grip and the release of all night. Really hasn't had it. That's about the best one he's thrown. So he might as well come back and do it again.
How about that? 6 strikeouts now for the lefty for the Phils. Here's Christopher Negron. Another look.
You know, on those nights when a pitcher like Cole Hamels has his full complement of pitches, I mean, it is awfully tough to get anything going. I mean, you've got to grind out every at bat and just take whatever break you have.
When he first arrived, Chris, and we saw him in that first game, remember calling around, and we heard he was a good pitcher, and I called one of your friend and my friend, a guy who's one of the best baseball men we've been around. That's Gene Stick Michael, who was scouting for the Yankees at that time. Here's the 0-1. That's line to right. Over is Francoeur. He's got it, and that'll do it. But Gene Michael said he's got the best changeup in the National League, and he's still got it today. Been on a roll tonight. He's held the Phillies without a hit through the first 4, only a walk. So far he has struck out 59 pitches, and a lot of those strike after strike after strike. 9 of 13 batters have seen first pitch strikes, and Mike Leake's ready to go back to work as we go to the 5th.
That's a pretty good out distribution for Mike Leake. 5 strikeouts, 5 ground balls, and 2 fly balls. I mean, when he gets his ground balls, it means he's down in the zone. The hitters are hitting the top half of it, which is what his strategy is all about.
.61 pitches into the 5th inning. Cole Hamels at 83 after the top of the inning. This one blooped into center. There is Billy. Hamilton's got it. Franco's retired, 1 away.
You know, with the way that Mike is throwing the ball tonight, he's really in the process of killing a couple of different demons. One is trying to get off the bad track that he's been on, where 3 consecutive starts where he's been beaten around to an earned run average of over 12. And then the other is his history against the Philadelphia Phillies, which has not been good. There you see the numbers. So, I mean, if you can turn both of those around on the same night and pitch the way he is, it's doubly good.
Like a cat on the mound, he takes care of that. Quickly, there are 2 away here in the 5th, and here comes Freddie Galvis as Ashe bounces out. Galvis bounced to second to lead off the 3rd inning, up for the 2nd time. Don't forget, tomorrow it'll be Anthony DeSclafani going against former Red Aaron Harang. Both trying to reach the 500 mark. Anthony at 3 and 4, and Harang at 4 and 5. Ranger just keeps on rolling, doesn't he, Chris?
He sure does. I mean, what a wonderful guy, and you can't be anything but extremely happy for him with the way he is. The only thing that really bothers him right now is that he's been mentioned in a lot of trade talks, and he really likes it here in Philadelphia. His family likes it here. He likes the organization. He had a chance to sign with a couple of different ball clubs and decided the Phillies. They went after him most aggressively right before Christmas, and that's when they got the deal done.
1 ball, 2 strikes, Leak to Galvis. Broken bat down to short, charging is Cozart. Got him by a step. 1, 2, 3, 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. Mike Leake keeps rolling. When we return, Barnhart to the bat rack.
I'm Jim Day. We talked to Brian Price yesterday and talked about the comfort of getting his ace Johnny Cueto back, and he said, well, I'm not going to have a comfortable feeling till he gets on the mound, pitches well, and then comes through it fine. And yesterday he said the final test would be today when Cueto throws on the side and gets through that. And I can report after talking to Johnny Cueto after he threw today that he was bubbly and excited. That arm, that elbow is just fine. So all the report cards have been nothing but excellent for Johnny Cueto, and that is huge for the Reds going forward, no matter what happens with Johnny Cueto and perhaps dangling him in a trade or keeping him around.
You know, JD, you said it so well. The look on Johnny's face when he came back into the clubhouse, I mean, it looked as good as it looked yesterday when he knew he could throw okay, but to come back today and feel that way, you could tell it was like childish excitement, wasn't it?
Well, and he knows that he had to get through today. It's not always how you feel on the mound when you're coming off an injury. It's how you feel the next day. And you saw it. He was just like a little kid. He had definitely a extra step and a big old smile on his face, George.
92
it was great to
pitches
see.
last night. And here's Hamels hitting the 85 pitch mark. Mike Leake had a big hit in that 4th inning after a walk with 1 out to Barnhart. Leake showed bunt. Butcher Boyd the next pitch, single to left to put runners at first and second. Then there was the error that allowed Hamilton to reach at first, and the base hit by Phillips, and there are the 2 runs that the Reds have. So Mike had a big hand in that rally. No balls, 2 strikes. He waved at it. They'll get the out down at first, and there's 2 away. That's strikeout number 7 for Cole Hamels. Don't forget, following each and every Reds game here on Fox Sports Ohio, make sure to stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda, for a complete recap, interviews from the locker room, and a whole lot more. Brian Giesenslaw, Jeff Pecoro will be there with Kent Dream Weaver to bring us the complete story of this one when it's all wrapped up. JD will be in the clubhouse, and as usual down in the truck, Josh Hall here at the ballpark is our producer, and he's also standing in for Matt Sigafus, dialing up some highlights for you. Brian Hunterman, our director, and Jim Miller is doing some statistical highlights for us as well. Great to have you with us here at Citizens Bank Ballpark for the second of 3. Billy reached on a walk on a 3-2 pitch in the third, was left stranded, and reached on an error in the fourth. Down to third. It is a, what is it? Foul.
Boy,
wow.
I can tell you, Maikel Franco was a little worried there for a moment until he realized. He turned around and looked Alfonso Marquez in the eye, and Marquez said, relax, that's not an error, that's a foul ball. I mean, first of all, who's he going to throw out?
Yeah, not Billy.
And he could turn that into an easy double.
0-2, Banks down to short, the throw. What a play by the shortstop, Freddie Galvis.
Wow.
They get the speedy Billy Hamilton. A dandy by Galvis to rob the Reds center fielder of a hit. As we go to the 6th inning, bottom of 6, Ruiz, then Hamels, and then Herrera, top of the order. 8, 9, and 1. Ruiz line to center, first time up. That's a strike. Solani called it a ball. Looked like he raised his right hand, but not so. That evens off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Five strikeouts, 5 ground balls, 2 fly balls for Mike Leake. 1 and 2. And we'll go to a full count to the leadoff batter in the 6th inning. Ruiz fouls it off. We'll try it again with Hamels on deck. Utley went to a 3-2 count in the 4th inning before walking. That's the only base runner the Phillies have had to this point. Second full count that Mike Leake has had. Fastball in. And there's another walk. Leadoff walk here in the 6th. And that'll bring up Hamels. Hey, don't forget, it's time for you to be a part of the All-Star experience and time for you to vote for your Cincinnati Reds All-Stars. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star ballot at Reds.com. Voting exclusively online, available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Be a part of the 2015 vote. Hamels showing bunt, waves at it for a strike. Zach Cozart among the top 5 shortstops. Reds have a dearth of players in the top 5 at various positions. Joey Votto not there. Frazier is in the top 5 among third basemen. Frazier inching in at third. Hamels showing bunt again. Takes a ball. Hamels 2 sacrifices on the season to date. Waves at that one, and it's 1-2. Hamels steps out, takes a look at Pete Buchanan, the veteran third base coach, who rolls through signs one more time. Votto holds the runner and was charging. See if Hamels squares again. Leake will throw over there. Hamels showed no indication to drop the bat that time. We'll see. Showing bunt. He misses it. That is an out, but the ball gets away from Barnhart, and going to second will be the runner. So they accomplish what in essence is a sacrifice in any event. It's a strikeout, but the runner goes to second.
Yeah, I wonder if it was that situation where he gets the bat right in the same spot as the ball, and it just shields out the eye, the visual lock of being able to see that ball.
So runner in scoring position with 1 out. Here's Herrera, who bounced to short and struck out looking. Good speed in this young leadoff hitter. Nasty, huh?
Boy, it looked good for a moment, didn't it?
Yeah.
Until it looked like it was going to bite you on the thigh.
That looked like your golf swing on about the 5th hole today. How'd you shoot?
That was after I warmed up.
From the stretch is Leake. Ruiz off second. Fouled off, kicks away, 0-2.
I'll tell you, the thing that Leake has really done, and I've already mentioned it, but to say it in a different way, is that he's been able to pitch left-handers inside. And there are so many right-handed pitchers that are either unable or unwilling because they're afraid to do so, afraid to make a mistake in there.
Pass ball charged to the catcher Barnhart to allow the runner to go to second. And Barnhart makes sure that they're on the same page with the runner out at second.
You may feel like this is a meeting that doesn't mean anything, but I mean, the way that Cole Hamels has really buttoned it down since the Reds got 2 runs, that base hit by Brandon Phillips in the 4th inning. He's retired 8 in a row, and the Reds and has struck out 3 of those. So, I mean, he may have to make 2 runs hold up. Mike Leake, that is.
Leake to the stretch. Ruiz off second. That's a perfect pitch. And Herrera caught looking for the 2nd consecutive time. Strikeout number 7.
Our Cholula hot sauce flamethrower of the night right there. A little breaking ball down around the knees. Nice receiving that pitch by Tucker Barnhart. Mike Leake gets another strikeout. 7 of them now.
2 away, and here's Francoeur, who's 0 for 2, a ground out and a strikeout. And wide, 2-0. Now, traditionally, pitchers have tried to expand the strike zone either wide or high against Francoeur. He doesn't offer it either one, and he's ahead in the count, 2-0. Utley on deck. Center field, Hamilton got it. That ball just kept carrying, but Billy was there to snare it. So they strand a runner. They've stranded 2 through 6. Still unblemished is Leake.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Back at Citizens Bank Park, Reds fans in attendance, hopeful of evening the series at a victory apiece. The Reds, 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. All the hits in the game belong to Cincinnati. We go to the 7th inning. Brandon Phillips delivered the 2 runs for the Reds with a base hit in the 4th. There's another shot. First pitch swinging. It's going to get past Ashe. Here's Phillips around first, going to second, and he'll cruise into second with a 2-base hit. It's the 3rd hit of the night. 2 singles and a double for Brandon Phillips.
And really, George, the ball that he hit hardest of all is the only one that he's made an out on. That was to lead the game off. Ashe is a converted infielder.
Not to the like of Hamels as the leadoff hitter sitting on second. Here's Votto. Joey doubled in the 1st, lined hard to the second baseman Utley in the 3rd, and had a deep fly ball to left in the 4th. So he's 1 for 3. Reds trying to put another insurance run on the board. Breaking ball drops in there for a strike. Frazier on deck for the Reds. In his career, Joey is now 3 for 17 against Hamels. Short lead for Phillips at second. Another breaking ball.
First a slider, then a curveball. That curveball was something that Hamels did not have early in the game. He kept firing up fastballs, and the Reds kept hitting them harder. But miraculously, none of those balls really fell in the way you think that they would have.
That's a wake-up call. 1-2.
That's an old-fashioned one right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting to see how the hitter reacts.
In the dirt, first base open. They'll throw down to first. Joey is retired. He strikes out, 1 out.
You know, George, I say old-fashioned. I was walking down the hallway. I was looking at all the posters on the boards here, and one, of course, was of Steve Carlton, a lefty, as they called him here. And I wondered, well, who would the Reds really rather face tonight, Cole Hamels or Steve Carlton? So here's Carlton starts against the Reds as a Philly, a losing record, and earned run average back in the day not that great, a 3.37. Opponent batting average not bad. And on the other hand, Cole Hamels, 10-0 with a 1.3 earned run average. You'd have to say, you'd rather face Carlton? Are you crazy? Now,
the numbers tell one story.
And the other fact is that, remember that Carlton was pitching against the Big Red Machine.
It was a different era, different team he pitched against every time out. That's off the end of the bat. Rolls down to first. They'll get the out. Going to third will be Phillips, second out of the inning. Well, Frazier 0 for 4. He cued that one up right to Howard.
Yeah, that's when Frazier wishes that he used a shorter bat. He would just swung and missed.
Talking about as hot as he was last week, winning Player of the Week. He was 0 for 5 last night, 0 for 4 so far tonight. Here's Jay. Bruce lined out, walked, and struck out. Reds would love to get another run in. From the stretch is Hamels. Runner on third, 2 outs. Chris, were you one that would like to work from a full windup or from the stretch?
Well, it would vary really for me game to game, George. I never really worried about a guy stealing home, and Brandon's not going to do that right here.
Towards the hole. Utley has it. They will get him. Hamels there to cover the bag. The Reds will strand a runner. They've stranded 8, but lead it 2-0. Finals against Golden State after the game. Turn over to Fox Sports Ohio for a complete recap. Extensive interviews from Game 1. Cavs Live follows our coverage of the Reds and Phillies tomorrow night right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Here's Chase Utley, first pitch swing, high fly ball to center. It'll stay in the park. At the warning track is Hamilton. He'll haul it in for the first out. Utley bounced out, walked, and this fly ball to center, one away in the 7th. One away in inning number 7. Here comes Ryan Howard, 0 for 2. When you go down the lineup, the only balls that have been hit with any authority, that ball hit pretty good, but at the edge of the warning track, Hamilton hauled it in. Fly ball by Franco to center field back in the 5th inning. Here's Ryan. Howard flied to center and struck out 0 for 2. I guess Mike Leake has answered the question, Chris. He said he did tweak some things in his side session. He said he felt a little better, and he sure pitched a lot better tonight.
Well, he never really thought that it was a mechanical flaw going on. I mean, obviously something is causing you not to throw the ball where you want to. And sometimes it happens. It's like a hitter going into a mini slump. The problem with a pitcher is that it can seem like it lasts all month long, but really only is 3 starts. So for Mike Leake, that's about what it was. He got off to a tremendous start. First 7 games, outstanding. Next 3 games, not so outstanding. But he's back on the beam right now. Young man is driven.
That's a fair ball. Votto will flip to Leake, and they'll get the second out of the 7th. Number 44 has been in control the whole way here tonight.
Well, he has been, and he's also been fairly efficient with his pitches. I mean, he's at 90 pitches right now, and it'll take a tow truck to get him out of there other than giving the ball to Aroldis Chapman. I mean, he's putting himself in a position to be the bridge himself to Chapman if Brian Price decides to go that way.
Here's Franco, struck out looking, fly to center, 0 for 2. That's laced into center field for the first hit for the Phillies. So the intrigue of this one from a no-hit standpoint ends here in the 7th with a 2-out base hit. Franco had the big hit last night for the Phillies with a home run in the 8th inning, lashes this single to center field to end the no-hit bid by Mike Leake in inning number 7.
Well, one of the things that we have learned about Franco in this short trip to Philly so far is that he can hit a hanger. He had a hanging slider for a home run yesterday, and that was a hanging curveball.
So 2 out, 1 out, and here's Ashe. No one obviously probably talked to Leake. It was evident. You watched Todd Frazier as the ball sailed into center field. He slumped his shoulders and dragged his hand down as if to say, hoping that a teammate who he respects so much could continue his no-hit bid. Everyone wants to be part of one, don't they?
You better believe it, especially the guy on the mound.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ashe bounced to third, bounced back to the pitcher. Back in the old days, Chris, when the Reds trained in Florida, you'd see the Phillies a lot during spring training. But now the way things are, Phillies still train in Clearwater, Reds are in Arizona. You don't see them at all in spring training. Here's a delivery. That's a breaking ball in there. And the way things are this year, they'll play the Phillies twice in a week, and they won't see them the whole year. Well, it's a different look. So many of these young players that the Phillies have brought up, the Reds don't have a great seeing eye book on. You got a video book and a scouting report, but it's different to see them.
Well, the good ones you'll see again.
To be decided as the years progress, huh? Rebuilding programs have a way of going through people, don't they?
It's like personnel in a fast food restaurant sometimes.
Which you frequent often. We both do. Here's the 2-2. got him. Well, no blip on the radar, gives up a base hit. Mike Leake is rolling. He's got a 2-0 lead as we head to the 8th. After our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen, an update here from Citizens Bank Ballpark. Cole Hamels came back out after the inning ended for the Reds. He threw one warm-up pitch and then kind of moved around funny on the mound and then tried another and then was removed from the ball game. So we don't know exactly what it was. Here's a swing and a bloop to short by Zach Cozart. It's collared by Freddie Galvis, and there's one away here in the top of the 8th inning. And the new pitcher will be Ken Giles, who was loosening at the end of last inning in any event. But it appeared, Chris, to be some kind of an injury, whether serious or not, that took Cole Hamels out of the game.
It did not appear to be an arm injury. Of course, that's what you're most worried about if you're the Phillies. But we'll find out about that. That's one way of getting Hamels out of the ball game is through injury, because it's one of really the only ways. The way he's been pitching recently, he has taken the Phillies deep into ball games. And this matchup did not disappoint tonight. Pretty good pitching duel.
Here's Christopher Negron. He struck out twice and lined out. Waves at that for a strike, 0-2.
Tell you what, for a guy that averages more or higher than 97 miles an hour on his fastball, Giles, that's a pretty good breaking ball.
Big hulking right-hander sends this delivery, and the 0-2 is plunked in the right. How about that? So Negron gets his first hit of the night, 1 out, 1 on. And let's take a look. Here is Cole Hamels, his first delivery. And then afterwards, he kind of hops a little bit on the mound and takes time to think about it, and then calls out Ruiz. Now watch Ruiz come out. He's waving the glove at him. He comes out, and then there goes the runner. Here comes the throw. Going to be high, and it's a stolen base for Christopher Negron.
Great idea right there. Do it before anybody really settles in. You got a new reliever coming in there, and he didn't pay much attention to Negron at all. I mean, never even really looked over his shoulder, and Negron got a nice jump. Small lead, big jump.
So the Reds have a runner in scoring position with a 2-0 lead here in the 8th. No balls, 1 strike to Barnhart. That's inside. Tucker singled, walked, and popped out. As near as we could tell with Hamels, it appeared to be from the waist down where the injury occurred, whether it's ankle, knee, groin, or whatever. We haven't heard anything from the Phillies as yet. With the exception of that series against Washington, where the Reds were 12 for 28 with runners in scoring position, they've struggled big time of late, and tonight is no different. They did last night, and tonight so far they're only 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Thanks to Mike Leake, they have a lead though. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hanging in there is Barnhart, trying to get Negron home. And if you joined us late, Christopher Negron in the lineup, because Marlon Byrd, if you were with us last night after the game when the word came down, suffered a fractured wrist after being hit by O'Sullivan, Sean O'Sullivan, in last night's game. From the stretch is Giles. To left field, high in the air. There's Ashe, got it. Barnhart will hold at second. So Negron gets the start tonight in left, and we send our best wishes out to Marlon, hoping that the injury not as severe as it might be. We really don't know yet how long he'll be out. The first indications are that it is a fractured wrist, but there are some indications that maybe it's an old fracture, not a brand new one, and it was a re-injury of it. So the Reds have not put a timeline on it as of yet. Ivan De Jesus Jr. called up from the Reds minor leagues to take the spot on the roster. Here's Mike. Leake struck out, part of the Reds' rally in the 4th. With 1 out, Barnhart walked. Leake showed bunt on the first pitch, then showed bunt again, pulled the bat back, and singled to left to put runners at first and second. Hamilton reached on an error by the pitcher. And with the bases loaded, Phillips singled in the Reds' 2 runs. Those are the only 2 runs in the ball game to this point. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mike. Oh, you had to believe, Chris, sitting back home, Devin Mesoraco, the outstanding catcher who's on the disabled list for the Reds, and Homer Bailey too, were rooting for Mike Leake. Homer, the last 2 no-hitters the Reds have thrown belong to Homer Bailey, 2 of the 16 in Reds history. And Mesoraco's been with him every step of the way too. There's a big swing. Mike is retired. Well, we're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Reds and Mike Leake holding on to a 2-0 lead. Scoreboard thanks to Brandon Phillips, bases loaded single that played at 2. That's 2 runs for the Reds. Turn the rest over to Mike Leake, huh?
Well, you're right. You know, Mike Leake is making 2 runs hang up, and he had to hold up, that is, because Cole Hamels was almost as good, but Leake lost that no-hitter in the 7th inning, and he has been just about perfecto tonight.
No runs, 1 hit for the Phillies. 2 runs, 7 hits for the Reds. We go to the bottom of 8. Here's Freddie Galvis facing Mike Leake. Galvis so far tonight bounced to second, bounced to short, 0 for 2. The lone hit in the ball game was a Franco base hit to center in the 7th. Big swing and a strike. And that's where Mike has been all night long. First pitch strike after first pitch strike. Freddie Galvis 0 for the night, but a brilliant defensive play to rob Billy Hamilton of a hit. Showing bunt, takes a strike. Big shoes to fill now that Jimmy Rollins is gone and in Los Angeles. Will he be the shortstop of the future on this club, or is that to be determined? A lot of question marks for the Phillies here in this 2015 season.
Now, this is what rebuilding looks like. I mean, and there are still some pieces here that they owe a lot of money to, though I think that they would like to and probably at some point will move. I mean, if you're going to clean house, sometimes the idea is to just do it completely and start about as basically as you can, a la the Houston Astros, who find themselves one of the best teams in baseball this year a few years ago. We're in the same mode as the Phillies are.
9 strikeouts for Mike Leake. Heading to double strikeout numbers, and now heading past the 100 century mark, 101 pitches. And Chris, with the no-hitter gone, you would imagine at 101 pitches that this will be his last, and it would be Aroldis Chapman in the 9th.
Well, you would think so, but you never know.
Here's Ruiz.
I mean, the way that Mike Leake is throwing, is it automatic that you have to turn it over to your closer in the 9th inning? And if so, when did that happen?
Bloop to right, curving, it'll go foul. One thing Brian Price did mention, and he mentioned it when the Reds lost Homer Bailey, and then of course bringing up the young pitchers. They want to try to limit the number of pitches for the 3 young pitchers that are in the rotation. They've had to lean on Cueto, who went over 120 pitches twice, and lean on Leake. So might they be a little more judicious in that pitch count from here on out? Cozart, good footwork. Nice throw, 2 away.
You did say 120 pitches and not 220 pitches, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know when or since when 120 pitches became pitcher abuse. I mean, Mike Leake is rolling right along right now. What possibly can another pitcher do better than what Mike Leake has done all night is the question. And that's why the manager gets paid the big bucks and also has to take the heat when things don't go well. You make those decisions.
There's Cesar Hernandez pinch hitting for the pitcher spot here in the 8th inning.
Haven't seen him in a while.
Not our Cesar Hernandez.
Oh, there's a different guy?
That was a day to remember, wasn't it? Was that 94?
It was 1994.
Center field, Wrigley Field.
Center fielder for the Reds. That was when Tony Perez was managing the ball club. Kept him on the club as a defensive specialist. And had a day not to forget at Wrigley.
Fly ball left, going back, looking up. Negron got it. 1, 2, 3 in inning number 8. Leake holds on to a 2-0 lead. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Hey, don't forget Friday cheer on the Reds when they take on the Padres. Plus, stick around after the game for what is always the best fireworks in baseball, Fireworks Friday, presented by Kroger and Reds Home Team Products. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Smiling scoreboard for the Reds as we head to the top of inning number 9. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Cincinnati. No runs, only 1 hit for the Phillies off Mike Leake. And Jim Day, you know, we talk about the great moments that we've seen here in Philadelphia over the years and momentum. And the word is that momentum, of course, in baseball is always next day's starting pitcher. But you christened this day with your cheesesteak. If the Reds win today, we may have to have you have a cheesesteak every day.
Well, as good as that cheesesteak was, I'm for it. I got special waiver to go into that area. As long as they bring it out to me, George, I'm good. We did have a bad experience years ago when we went into the Houston dining area of the players.
That's right.
Yes. Ken Griffey Jr., Adam Dunn and Austin Kearns had a little bit of fun with me, and that one was the last time I would go in that area.
Well, if it takes a cheesesteak, we'll do it every night for you, JD. Here's Jake Diekman, who takes over on the mound. Billy Hamilton walked in the 3rd to load the bases, reached on an error to keep a rally alive in the 4th, and bounced to short in the 6th. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a rebuilding bullpen for this Phillies team, capped off, Chris, as we saw last night, by Jonathan Papelbon. Papelbon looks like he's throwing about as well as he has in a long time.
Well, he's come up with a new pitch. It seems like that slider for Papelbon was devastating last night for Reds hitters. I mean, he went to school last night. And they've thrown some pretty good arms in here in the last couple of innings. Very impressive. Ken Giles came in here throwing 97, 98. I don't know how Jake Diekman gets hit. This left-hander just dials it up in the upper 90s too, although his earned run average is quite high. He just looks kind of difficult to size up.
And difficult to see with a wielding motion.
Yeah, well, 14 walks in 19 innings might give you a little bit of a clue, I guess.
Well, the star of this night so far has been Mike Leake. But at the plate, this guy has had a big hand in this night as well. 3 hits. Check it. I mean, 4 hits after the base hit last time up. And the biggest hit of the night, a base hit with the bases loaded in the 4th inning to knock in the 2 runs that the Reds have. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brandon Phillips. Single in the 3rd, single in the 4th that knocked in a run, and a double in the 7th for his 3 hits on the night. Our Miller time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. It was a sweet swing, Chris.
Just about every time he has swung the bat tonight, it's been a sweet swing for Brandon Phillips. That was the most productive one, a Miller time moment. Makes a couple of runs, and the only runs of this ball game came off the bat of Brandon Phillips.
Breaking ball down and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bad wheel or not, he plays tough. There's the Reds closer, Aroldis Chapman, who was up and loosening. Trying to go the other way, fouls it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's been the man of the hour, Mike Leake. He's been brilliant thus far. Flips it foul. The count stays at 2-2. If you joined us late, Cardinals won again today, 7-4 over Milwaukee. This afternoon, Atlanta defeated by Arizona 9-8. And the Pirates won their game 5-2 over the Giants. Smiling scoreboard. Happy bench thus far for the Reds in this one. Full count 3-2. And he's on again. On base 4 times tonight is Brandon Phillips. 1 out, 1 on, and here's Joey. Votto doubled in the 1st, lined out in the 3rd, flied to left in the 4th, and struck out in the 7th. The Reds have 7 hits and 2 runs. Hamels, while he was in there, struck out 8. Giles struck out 1 in the 8th, and here in the 9th, Diekman has struck in the top of the 9th. Diekman has struck out 1. So the Reds have been punched out 10 times tonight. Foul. It's a ball and a strike. Don't forget, tomorrow we're on the air with Reds Live at 6:30. Anthony DeSclafani will get the ball, trying to stretch his record to 500. He's 3-4 coming in against former Red Aaron Harang. Comes in at 4-5, but with an ERA spectacular, just about 2 runs. Hit pretty good by Votto to center. Going back is Herrera at the warning track, looking up. That's long gone. About a 410-foot homer to center field, and that's when Joey's at his best, Chris. He goes to left center, you know he's on it.
Well, he stayed behind that baseball, and he had a good swing on the previous pitch, and obviously against Diekman, a very hard-throwing left-hander. He is waiting for a fastball, and man, oh man, you know what's really most impressive to me about that is that he was knocked on his behind last time up by Cole Hamels, and he hangs right in there against a cross-firing left-hander and rockets it out of here about 430 feet. That is a bomb, and that is one heck of a good swing.
Long ball from Votto, and the Reds stretch the lead to 4-0. For Joey, that's home run number 10. Runs batted in number 27 and 28 on the season. Here's Frazier. Todd's 0 for 4. A fly ball, a strikeout, and a couple of groundouts. Down the right field line, but out of play. Riveted. That's the way Mike Leake has been all night long. On the mound and at the plate, he contributed to the Reds' rally, and he's been great on the mound. Swing and a miss, and Frazier, as hot as he was this weekend, 0 for 5 yesterday, 0 for 5 today. Here's Bruce. Jay 0 for 4 with a strikeout, 0 for 3 rather with a strikeout and a walk. Difficult defeat yesterday, but if they can nail this one down, they can come back tomorrow and win their first series here in Philadelphia since 2006. That's a strike. 2-2. Big swing from Joey. Double figures in homers again, now at 10. And there's a walk. A 2-out free pass, and here comes Cozart. Zach flied out, popped out, struck out, popped out. And here comes Ryan Sandberg. That may be the last pitch that Diekman will deliver here in the 9th inning. Boy, that guy could play some baseball, couldn't he, Chris?
I'm wondering, Ryan Sandberg, is a second baseman for all those years with the Cubs. He used to probably run in every time the manager would come out to the mound and find out what the heck that conversation is all about. So he's probably got a lot of ammo, a lot of material out there that he's probably not even used yet, although he's using a lot this year.
He's given his speech, and as the pitching change takes place, he'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Friday night, be a part of Reds Fan Cam with Fox Sports Ohio's Christine Sheltrown and Mo Egger from 700 WLW at the Holy Grail. It's your chance to answer Reds trivia, win prizes, and be part of Reds Live. The fun gets started Friday night at 6 at the Holy Grail. And Ryne Sandberg and Larry Boa, they have a tie-in to who the Reds called up today, Ivan DeJesus Jr. Back in 1982, prior to the season, Phillies were one season removed from their first World Series title, and Larry Boa was unable to come to a contract agreement, and Dallas Green, who was the manager of the Phillies when they won the World Championship, was the Cubs GM, and he really wanted Boa as part of his team, so they traded for Larry Boa, but he said, I want that youngster Ryne Sandberg thrown into the deal. The Phillies got Ivan DeJesus, the father of Ivan DeJesus Jr., and as it turns out, it was a one-sided deal. Many say it's the worst trade in Phillies history, and Ivan DeJesus Jr. said, yep, I remember it, and I'm sure some fans, if I get into one of these games, they're going to remember my name too, because Ryne Sandberg, we all know what happened after that.
Rhino went to the Hall of Fame in 2005. He was an MVP in '84, 9 Gold Gloves, 7 silver bats. The guy next to him, Larry Boa, at one point held a defensive record for shortstops and the total number of games played in the National League. Ozzie Smith passed him for that one, and Jimmy Rollins passed him for fielding percentage in the National League. But what a gamer Boa was, and what a gamer Sandberg was, and what a gamer Ivan DeJesus was too, Chris.
No
I mean,
doubt
great
about
coach
it.
now,
He was a
outstanding.
really good player.
Man.
A grinder.
Here's Cozart with the runner on and 2 outs. Wide to third, scoop, flip. Look out, and it
Billy.
almost hit Billy Hatcher. Hatch hit the dirt. He's trying to watch his runner and finally peeked out of the side of his helmet and just did get out of the way before he got drilled.
He's looking down at his stopwatch. I wonder if he's still got the accurate time on that.
Move those puppies, Hatch. Look out. He's safe.
As graceful as always.
The Hatchman survives it.
You know, the Hatchman used to slide. Now he rolls.
First and third for the Reds, and error on the third baseman, Franco. Another one down to third. Whoa. They just get the final out of the inning. We're heading to the ninth. The Reds with a little breathing room, 4-0. And Mike Leake Every game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. All the info you need for every game. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We give an applause to Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesensel every pregame, and Billy Hatcher gets an applause as he heads back to the dugout. Chris, you knew that was coming.
Look at Brandon.
Look at that, standing O for the Hatch. Here's Mike Leake. He'll try to wrap it up himself in the 9th inning. You've been there, Chris. Winning is big. Complete game makes it even bigger.
Well, they don't have the same status as it used to have, and I'm wondering how long the leash will be. Of course, with the 2-run home run by Joey Votto, it gives you a little extra cushion here. But they will have Aroldis Chapman back up and throwing in the bullpen.
So a leadoff base hit by Herrera here in the 9th. Here's Francoeur. Going into the 9th inning, the only base hit that the Phillies had was the base hit by Franco in the 7th inning. Francoeur shows bunt, misses for strike 1. Chapman, who had loosened the last inning, starts throwing again. And you would imagine, Chris, if another base runner reaches, that Chapman will be in.
There's no doubt. I wonder how serious Francoeur was about laying that bunt down, because in his career, he has one sacrifice bunt.
Down the right field line, curving towards the corner. It is foul and out of play.
That one sacrifice bunt in over 4,700 at bats.
Now the difficulty of this part of the lineup is you've got Francoeur, who's got home run power, Utley and Howard behind him.
Yeah, and that's probably why Francoeur just may be the last guy that League sees either way. Unless he gets a double play ball here. Of course, the best way to stop a rally is to stop it before it gets going.
Ryan Price, Jay Bell, Jeff Pico up watching their right-hander closely. Barnhart marches out to chat with his right-hander, who's sitting now at 113 pitches. He's been masterful on this night. 9 strikeouts here into the 9th inning. I just missed him. And we're even at 2-2. From the stretch is Leak. And that's ripped foul down the right field line again.
Now Mike looking for his first major league shutout. He does have 3 complete games. All those complete games came this year.
And we'll go full. Leak takes a step back and a big deep breath.
Yeah, one thing about Francoeur, he has never been the type of hitter that gets cheated, even with 2 strikes, and he remains the same.
High strikeout totals, some big power numbers. but never been able to harness a swing to be an average hitter. He's always had unique and special athletic ability, though. One time a great three-sport star in high school. And he's hanging in there. As this at-bat goes deeper, and it appears more and more likely, Chris, that this will be the last batter he'll face. Three-two. That's booped in the right. That's a base hit. Bobbled, and there goes the runner to third. That'll be an error on Jay Bruce. His first charged error of the season. He looked up to see where Herrera was. And that'll be it for Mike Leake.
That's a pretty good at bat by Jeff Francoeur. I mean, on the 11th pitch he sees, he lines a base hit into right field. The error by Bruce probably won't mean anything. Even if the Phillies score this run, they're still down by 3. And a heck of a night from Mike Leake. I mean, man, oh man, did he pitch well tonight.
Great effort by Leake. We'll tell you more about it when we return. Back after these messages, you're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Mike Leake will not get a complete game, but he is our Steel Power 2 performer of the night, Chris. He's been outstanding tonight.
Well, he sure has, George, and he figured that he would have to be outstanding because he faced Cole Hamels. The Reds were able to edge across a couple of runs against Hamels, put Leake in a position to be the winning pitcher in this game, but he did the rest. I mean, he threw the ball where he wanted to, mixing all his pitches, and that's the Mike Leake that we were used to seeing in the month of April.
He'll give way to Aroldis Chapman. Aroldis has successfully converted 29 straight saves dating back to last year. He'll try to do it again here. This is now a save situation with the tying run in the on-deck circle, but two tough customers here, Utley and Howard, with no one out in the ninth inning. From the stretch is Chapman. There goes the runner. So the double play possibility erased as Francoeur goes to second.
I'm not so sure when I've seen the last double play with Aroldis Chapman on the mound. Usually it's to strike him out, throw him out.
The second and third, no one out. Utley 0 for 3 against Chapman in his career. Waves at that for a strike.
I don't think he meant to swing at that.
That happens to a lot of guys against Chapman, huh? 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. This has been a year where very few wins have been walked through. This one hit to left center field. Over is Hamilton. He's got it. He holds on, but the runner will tag from third and score. Great play by Billy Hamilton, who flags it down in left center.
Not only a great play, but a clutch play. Had that ball gone into the gap and gone all the way to the wall, now you've got a legitimate rally on your hands and the tying run coming to the plate. You'll take a sacrifice fly anytime. Look how far he has to go to get this ball.
Now Billy saves a run. Gets the first out of the inning. Staying at second is Francoeur, and here's Howard. Ryan is 0 for 4 against Chapman in his career. They'll overshift against Howard. That fastball is up and in. Ball 1. Well, you could see how Utley adjusted, Chris. I mean, he's got a short swing to start with, and he even shortened it more just to try to get a piece.
Well, they got a pitch down in the zone, too.
Ball 1. That misses down low. 2-0.
Well, he's missed with 2 breaking balls, back-to-back sliders that have gone out of the zone. I can pretty much assure that you're going to see a fastball here. I'm not so sure that Ryan Howard is going to be able to turn on Aroldis' fastball. There may have been a day when he could do that, but I'm not so sure we're looking at it here in 2015. Especially up around the letters. That is almost an unhittable pitch for anybody.
2 balls, 1 strike. Francoeur off second. The Reds overshifted to the right side against Howard. 99 inside, and it's 3-1. And it's ball 4. The tying run will come to the plate, and it is the culprit from last night. Franco 1 for 3 today. Yesterday it was his home run in the 8th inning, his second hit of the ball game, and the 4th time he was on base that tied the game at 4. When's the last time you saw Chapman give up a home run, Chris?
Long time. 74 innings, going back more than a year.
Aroldis digging in, first and second. 1 out here in the 9th. They didn't miss by much, but it's ball 1. Well, Mike Leake with a comfortable 4-0 lead. All he can do is stand and watch right now. Chapman to the stretch. Hit deep, back, left. Unbelievable. The second straight night Franco has delivered a tying home run, and this game once again is tied at 4. Franco delivers a game-tying home run. This time it's against one of the best closers in baseball. And at 98 miles an hour, he drilled it to left field. Well, Mike Leake's brilliant night will not see a W at the end of it. And for the first time since last year, Aroldis Chapman has not converted a save opportunity. Here's Ashe. Citizens Bank Ballpark has been a horror show for the Reds over the last 8 years, and it continues here in 2015. So we're back square even. Logout. And it's a full count, 3-2. That the game is tied, quick action for the Phillies. They get Papelbon up and loosening in the bullpen. Second walk by Chapman here in the ninth. A fly ball out, a walk, a homer, and another walk.
You got to get a visit to the mound by Jeff Pico. Now, a lot of times, it's Brian Price that comes out to talk to Aroldis Chapman. And the problem is, I don't think anybody out there speaks Spanish. Not Joey Votto speaks enough probably to translate some of it.
Normally, if it's Brian Pena, he will translate for Chapman. Here it's Votto translating, and now more than anything they try to give him a bit of a breather to get through this and get out of this inning.
Of course, the message could have been as simple as throw strikes.
Well, already this inning has turned into trouble for the Reds. But let's go back 2 years as Freddie Galvis comes to the plate. May the 19th of 2013. Galvis delivers this home run down the left field line as the Phillies went back to back. Chapman trying to erase that memory and get Galvis here. Still only one out in the ninth, and the potential winning run now down at first base. Galvis tonight bounced out twice and struck out. One ball, one strike. Barnhart trying to buy an out for his pitcher down at first, but Ashe gets back.
I'll tell you, Barnhart did a nice job getting a glove on that ball. That fastball took off. That's like trying to catch a bottle rocket.
That's a strike. 1-2. Short lead. Galvis digs in at the plate. Not even 2-2. just in case. Second pitch of the inning for Chapman coming up. Sky to center field. There is Hamilton. He's got it for the second out. And here comes the catcher, Carlos Ruiz. This ninth inning has seen Herrera single, Francoeur single. Chapman came in relief of Mike Leake after 119 pitches by Leake. He got one out on the great effort by Hamilton in left center. A walk and then a homer. The home run by Frankel, his second in 2 nights, has tied this game at 4. Ruiz lined out, walked, and bounced out. Ruiz in his career 0 for 1 against Chapman. Darren Ruff has moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up. There goes the runner. This one hit high in the air to left. At the warning track, reaching up, looking up, and hauling it in. For the final out is Negron. He didn't miss that one by much. So we're going to go extras in Philadelphia tonight. The Phillies rally to tie it in the 9th. We're going to the 10th, tied at 4. Are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Well, a wild side for the Phillies in the bottom of 9. After being blanked by Mike Leake all night long, they score 4. Franco the big swing for the second straight night, tying the game at 4 with a big 3-run home run. And we go to the 10th. Last night, Jonathan Papelbon came in at a 1-2-3 top of the 9th before the Phillies won it in the bottom of the 9th, striking out Phillips, Votto, and getting Frazier to bounce out. Here Papelbon will try to keep it where it is, dealing with the bottom of the order. Barnhart the catcher, then the pitcher spot, and then Hamilton. Ben Revere comes in center field. And here's Papelbon to go to work. The pitcher spot was due up next, so Revere would enter the game in the 9th spot in the order. Tucker tonight, singled, walked, popped up, flied out. Papelbon has been at the top of his game this year for the Phillies. He is currently the all-time save leader, not just for the Phillies, but for the Red Sox too. And another one of those that's been mentioned as a possible tradee as the Phillies go to the July 31st trade deadline. That's a strike. 3-1.
3-0 Leo.
And the Reds get the leadoff hitter on here in the 10th.
I'll tell you, Papelbon looked last night completely unhittable. I mean, he went through Phillips, Votto, and Frazier, and there wasn't a good swing among them. 2 struck out, and then a weak ground ball to third base. Tonight, he looks anything but. Lorenzen's going to be up there, probably asked to move the leadoff runner on over to second base.
Lorenzen will come in to pinch hit in the pitcher spot, the 8th spot in the order. Lorenzen is already, he's kind of assumed the role that at one point Bronson Arroyo had and Mike Leake had. When they need a bunt from a pinch hitter and don't want to waste a pinch hitter, it's this pitcher they call on. Lorenzen, of course, a great two-way performer in college. Fouls this off for strike 1.
You know, the first thing he has to remember, and it's hard to do because you're facing a guy with great stuff, action all over the pitches and so on, but you bunt strikes just like you do hitting. Sometimes you're so intent on getting a bunt down that you start chasing pitches out of the zone, like that last one, which is impossible to get down when it's up around your eyes.
Papelbon to the stretch, short lead for Barnhart. Showing bunt again, missing with a breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lorenzen steps out, looks at Jim Riggleman, who rolls through some signs. Cal State Fullerton, he was a two-way performer. Reds drafted him and immediately said they were going to move him into the pitching side of it. There's a successful sacrifice from Lorenzen.
Good job there.
Nice job by the young right-hander. And speaking of high draft picks, Lorenzen's been a bona fide addition to the Reds. Of course, the draft comes up next week. Director of Red Scouting, Chris Buckley, is going to be putting his staff together. They're meeting all this week. They've been compiling all their information. The Reds will have the 11th pick in the draft on Monday. Of late, they've been loading up. Almost half of their draft picks in that vicinity have been pitchers, and they've gotten some good ones, Lorenzen being one of them. Here's Billy hitting in the 9th spot with the go-ahead run out at second. And again, in this configuration, Utley way back at second, Howard behind the bag at first. Not a sacrifice bunt for a base hit. It would be an easy picking for Billy Hamilton, especially against this guy's fastball.
Well, especially the way he likes to elevate that fastball, because a pop fly does you no good at all.
1 ball, 1 strike. Papelbon peers in for his sign. Barnhart inches off second. Fouled at the plate, and it's 1-2. Over the weekend, the Reds cashed in almost every opportunity they had with runners in scoring position. This year they've been under 200, and tonight only 1 for 15. Blue Utley has it, and that's all they get. Second out of the inning. And it'll be up to Brandon to try to get the run in, and Phillips has had another outstanding night. A single in the third, a single in the fourth that knocked in the Reds' first 2 runs. He doubled in the 7th and walked in the 9th.
And that's on top of a night that he had last night where he got 2 hits, including a double, a line drive out, and a pretty well-hit fly ball to left field. The only bad at bat he had really since stepping off the plane here in Philadelphia was the one he had against Papelbon in the 9th inning last night, resulted in a strikeout.
Last night, Papelbon struck out both Phillips and Votto in the 9th. Brandon digs in, Barnhart off second. We're 4-4 in the 10th. Hit high in the air to left. This is going to stay in the park, though. Ashe squeezes it. The Reds strand a runner. They've stranded 12 tonight in Philadelphia. Tied at 4 to the bottom of 10 we go. In the ballpark. Some Reds fans sprinkled in here at Citizens Bank Park. Looked like it was going to be a quick night's work for Mike Leake. He had a 4-0 lead going into the 9th inning, going for a complete game. He gave up back-to-back hits. He exited. Chapman came in, gave up a walk, a homer to tie the game at 4. And we are in extra innings. Leake went 8+ innings, allowed only 3 hits. 2 runs were charged against him. Chapman's first blown save since last year. 119 pitches for Leake, and here's J.J. Hoover to try to keep it where it is and give the Reds another chance.
Well, the good news is Hoover has been throwing the ball pretty well as of late. You see the opponent batting average at 132. I mean, that's about as microscopic as you're going to see anybody. But the bad news is Brian Price is probably wondering, which way do I turn? On successive nights, he's seen his setup guys blow it, and then tonight, his closer blow it.
There's Darren Ruff, who will pinch hit. Big swing. Ruff, of course, last night, 24 hours ago, had the base hit that plated the winning run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Slap foul the other way. Already completed in the National League. Cardinals won today 7-4 over Milwaukee. Arizona beat Atlanta 9-8. Pirates beat the Giants 5-2. That's a foul ball down the third baseline. in the ninth tonight. Miami leads Chicago 7-3 in Miami. San Diego leads the Mets 2-0 in the fourth. That's way high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Luis Garcia loosening in the Phillies bullpen. On the corner, a call, strike 3. Didn't have to frame it, just an exclamation point of a catch by Barnhart right on the corner. 1 away, back to the top of the order. Ben Revere, who came in for Herrera, up for the first time tonight. Showing bunt, takes a strike.
Yeah, the Phillies would like to get down to the point in which they get Utley and Howard up, a couple of batters away. And in case that happens, the Reds have Manny Parra throwing in the bullpen, left-hander on call.
Line drive past Cozart into center, a base hit. Revere takes the big turn as Hamilton slips as he picks up the ball but gets it in quickly. So Revere is on with a potential winning run here in the 10th. And here comes Frank Coor. Frank Coor had maybe the key at bat in the 9th inning, fouling off 5 pitches and finally getting a base hit to right. That set the stage for Franco's eventual home run. No, 1 out, 1 on, and here's Frank Coor. Reds infield double play depth, but Frank Coor, a notorious fly ball hitter, with that uppercut swing. Missing 1 ball, no strikes. Utley on deck and Howard to follow. Parra continues to loosen the lefty in the Reds bullpen. Revere, good speed, potential stolen base operative, but Hoover trying to keep him close. Quiet crowd for most of the night, but in the last inning and a half, the 20,000 plus have gotten into this game as the Phillies have rallied. And it's 2-1. Revere bluffs going. It is past Phillips into center. That's a base hit. Now the winning run's out at second. Another good at bat by Frank Coor. So 2 on, 1 out, and here comes Utley.
Looked like he got it a little bit on the end of the bat, and he did, but he's got such long arms and a long swing. He went out there to get a pitch I believe was off the plate. And with a couple of left-handers due up, that will be all for J.J. Hoover, retiring 1 of the 3 batters that he faces tonight.
Here comes Brian Price. That'll be it for Hoover. And here comes Manny Parra while the pitching change takes place. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
After a strikeout of Ruff and back-to-back singles, Manny Parra takes over. And Chris, we talked about it the last two nights. The Reds have struggled here big time since 2006. They're 8-27 in games here in Philadelphia. And you can put an exclamation point on these numbers. 8 of the last 14 wins at home against the Reds by the Phillies have come in their final at bat, including last night's game.
So you're telling me they have a flair for the dramatic?
Manny Parra comes in.
And Parra comes in, but Brian Price has seen about as much drama as he wants to see. He loved to see Manny Parra just off the disabled list not too long ago come in here and extinguish this little rally and give his team a chance to put one on the board.
And Manny will face two hitters that have had some success against him. Utley's 4 for 11, and Howard is 3 for 10. Lefty-lefty matchup. Utley tonight.
That's a good idea. Because you really, I mean, Ben Revere, his game is running. And he was getting anxious out there. Maybe try to take advantage of Manny Parra not paying attention to him.
10 stolen bases on the year for Revere, sitting out at second. Reds with one out, double play depth in the infield. Breaking ball misses. Utley bounced to second first time up, walked on a 3-2 pitch in the fourth. That was the first base runner that Leake allowed. Fly to center in the seventh and fly to center again in the ninth against Chapman. Revere, outstanding speed, out at second. Breaking ball misses.
Now, 2 breaking balls in a row now have missed down and away off the plate.
Of anybody in this lineup, this is the toughest batter in these situations. Utley will make you throw a strike. He'll go down a strike and work the count. 2-0. Ryan Howard behind him. Howard 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. Manny to the stretch. Missing inside. 3-1. Jeff Pico, Brian Price, eyes peering out at their left-hander. Just clips the corner and will go full 3-2. Represents the winning run. Off second. Hozard trying to keep him close. Difficult situation with Utley here. He'll shorten that swing if they nip away at that outside corner again. Left side of the infield open. And that's where Utley tries to go. Again, 3-2. Hard to the stretch. That's nubbed foul. Utley hanging in.
Well, the question here really is, does Manny Parra have enough confidence in that breaking ball to snap off a hook right here on Chase Utley. And maybe that's the same question that Tucker Barnhart just ran out there to ask him. Do you want to throw a breaking ball here? Because he's spoiling your fastball. And the more you throw, the more he's going to get comfortable with it. You got to be able to throw it for a strike.
Hard of the stretch, 3-2 again to Utley. Bounce down to first. Foul.
Another long at bat for a Phillies hitter. This is pitch number 9 coming up.
Three-2 to Utley from Parra again. 4, 6. Not in time at first. Utley hustled down the line to beat it by half a step. 2 away, runner at first and third. So Utley keeps the inning alive, hustling down the line, and now it's first and third. Revere with Howard at the plate. Revere marches down the line in foul territory at third, and the Reds will overshift against Howard again. This one hit deep to right. Back is Bruce, and he's got it. Oh, the Reds danced the tightrope in the 10th. We're going to the 11th. Still tied at 4. Philadelphia, reminder, extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Now, if you're just joining us, story of this one, Mike Leake, outstanding on this night. Went into the 9th inning with a 4-0 lead. Had a no-hitter until the first base hit of the night came off the bat of Franco in the 7th inning. But Leake allowed base hits to the first 2 he faced in the 9th. Chapman came in, gave up 2 walks and a homer, and we ended up tied. Darren Ruff stays in the game. He's at first, and the Reds go to work in the 11th. Here's Joey Votto tonight in the top of the 9th. Looked like he gave the Reds all Mike Leake needed to go for his complete game. He had a 428-foot homer to left center field, and that gave the Reds a 4-0 lead. The other 2 runs that the Reds had came in the 4th on a base hit by Brandon Phillips that chased home 2 runs. But here we are tied at 4. And Garcia, the new pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. Luis Garcia here in the 11th inning. Votto, in addition to the homer, had a double back in the first. So 2 for 5. That's a rocket shot to left. It's a fair ball into the corner. Joey rounds first, heading for second. And he'll roll into second base, so the Reds have a go-ahead run sitting at second with no one out in the 11th.
Well, is that a fine piece of hitting right there? I mean, he figures that Garcia's going to go away from him. And he does. He just gets it up and doesn't just like swat at the left field. I mean, he drives that ball down. And the only way you do that is you hit it right out of the catcher's mitt.
So that'll bring up Frazier. Todd 0 for 5 tonight, 0 for 5 last night, with a chance to get the Reds a lead here in the 11th. Tonight he struck out twice, once swinging, once looking. Flied out once and grounded out twice. From the stretch, Garcia. Foul back for strike 1. Garcia pitched the 8th inning last night before Papelbon came in the 9th. They walked Schumacher, and that was his only blemish in the 1 inning of work. Broken bat down to short. Galvin will get the out. Votto can't advance. So not a productive at bat for the Reds, trying to get the go-ahead runner to third.
Well, that is just a must play for the Reds. If you're in extra innings on the road, you have a leadoff double, you have got to figure out a way to get him to second base. I don't care if you lay a bunt down.
So Frazier heads back to the dugout, and here comes Bruce. Jay has walked twice tonight in 5 plate appearances, 0 for 3. Bruce has not faced Garcia. They'll play him straight away with a runner at second. Francoeur pinched to the corner and right. Francoeur, one of the best throwing arms in baseball, still outstanding defensively. And Votto sitting at second.
Trying to keep it tight on Jay.
Votto turns around, checking where the outfielders are. A single to center and a single to left should allow, and they won't mess around with Bruce any longer. As they fall behind, they'll walk him intentionally. And that'll bring up Cozart. So Jay walks for the 3rd time tonight. And that'll set up a possible double play and bring Cozart to the plate. Zach hitless tonight. He reached on an error by the 3rd baseman, popped up twice, flied out once, and struck out. Bob McClure, the pitching coach, out to talk to his right-hander. Cozart last night did face Garcia and struck out against him. Max still got that pretty good mustache working, huh?
Yeah, he got the Wyatt Earp look.
Cozart's come up with some big hits for the Reds this year, trying to come up with another one here. Votto, the go-ahead run, sitting at second. Bruce, with Howard playing behind him, trying to get as much of a lead as he can off first. That's strike one. Garcia from the stretch. And it's 0-2. Trying to get him to fish wide. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 4 runs, 9 hits, and an error for Cincinnati. 4 runs, now 6 hits for the Phillies, and 2 errors. Dribble to the right side. They'll have to take the out at first. That's it. With 2 away, they'll be second and third. Utley had an idea of going to second, but as it slowed on the grass, he took the sure out. And the Reds now have the go-ahead run sitting at third. And Skip Schumacher's come out of the dugout, and he will pinch hit here in the 11th. Schumacher will hit for Christopher Negron. Schumacher's been the Reds' most reliable, most successful pinch hitter this year. Last night he came in the 8th inning against Garcia and worked the 3-ball, 2-strike walk. Dirt, good block by Ruiz.
Yeah, what this one, by having a runner over at third base, it opens up some other opportunities to score a run without a base hit, mainly a wild pitch or a pass ball. And that's something that Votto is probably thinking about, or should be thinking about, on every pitch. This could be the one. Doesn't have to go all the way to the backstop to score a runner from third base.
It's a strike, 1-1. Not only for the Reds in the National League, Schumacher one of the best pinch hitters. And in a hole here, 1-2. Heavy heat in on the hands.
Pretty good location of that fastball. I mean, he threw it right underneath his elbows. And that's a difficult pitch for anybody to get to. Schumacher's got a nice short swing.
Here's the 1-2. Garcia gets him. The Reds will strand 2. They've stranded 14 on this night, and we're still tied at 4. Ninth inning, Reds led 2-0. Joey Votto, a 428-foot homer to left center field, give the Reds a 4-0 lead going into the bottom of the ninth. Mike Leake trying for the complete game. He allowed base hits to the first two, and then after that, in came Aroldis Chapman. 1 run scored on a sacrifice fly, and then a 3-run home run by Franco tied the game at 4, and that's where we are. Second straight night that the Philly third baseman is homered to tie a game. Last night it was a 2-run homer to tie it at 4. Tonight in the ninth, a 3-run homer to tie it at 4. And we're still knotted at 4 as we go to the bottom of 11 here in Philadelphia. Skip Schumacher stays in the game in left field. And here comes Franco to face the new pitcher for the Reds, Ryan Matthews.
He's been a nice pickup, Matthews has. The Reds got him from the Angels. He was out on the waiver wire, and the Reds went in to get him. He was better than what they had down in the minor leagues ready to go. He's had success in the major leagues before with the Washington Nationals. And in the 8 games he's been in with the Reds, a nice job overall. Has not walked a batter yet, and that is essential here when you're getting into the extra inning area.
So Matthews to Franco. There's a bouncer down to third, scooped by Frazier, and they'll get the out. Franco tonight had struck out, flied out, singled in the 7th. And that was the first base hit by the Phillies against Mike Leake. And then he homered in the 9th. Well, they retire him this time, and there's one away here in the 11th. Here comes Ashe. Walked his last time up, part of the rally in the 9th inning. 0 for 3 before that. Galvis on deck. Been like 2 different nights. Mike Leake and Cole Hamels engaged in a outstanding pitchers duel early on. Leake went 8+ innings, allowed 3 hits, 2 runs charged against him as the 2 runners he left scored. He struck out 9 and walked 2. Your report card on Mike Leake tonight, Chris.
Hey, excellent, almost perfecto with the no-no, but you're right. I mean, here the Reds are on their 5th pitcher, and their starter went 8. Go figure.
Matthews to the stretch. And the other side of it, Cole Hamels went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits, only 2 runs, struck out 8, and walked 3. Hamels appeared to tweak something in his lower body, either an ankle, a groin, a knee, and left the game. And the bullpen has taken over since then. That's a dribbler down the third base line. That'll be a 2-base hit for Ashe.
Boy, is that a good bit of hitting.
So 1 out, the winning run sitting at second, and here comes Galvis.
You know, it's one of those situations where the Reds are not guarding the lines. That ball had a lot of action on it, and Ashe just kind of goes with it. I mean, like he wants it to go right down the line. You know, the Reds are really playing the percentages by playing Frazier off the line right there. But they end up giving up a double here.
Here's the shortstop Galvis. 0 for 4 on the night. Ruiz on deck behind him. Ashe, good base runner, above average speed, sitting at second. That's a bouncer wide of first. Votto has it, flips to Matthews. He loses the ball. It'll go all the way to the dugout, and the winning run will score for the Phillies. A simple play at first blows up for the Reds, and for the second straight night, the Phillies will celebrate a